Hi guys, I'm going to introduce Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And to summarize, your thoughts affect your reality. You can change your thoughts and it will completely change your life. This book shows how to rewrite the script, how to overcome anxiety, how to solve problems, and how to transcend difficult environments. So the first part of the book is about how your thoughts affect your reality. There's a saying that smile and the whole world smiles back. This is really true, that if you approach life and situations in a positive mindset, you're going to get more positivity back. If you approach it in a fearful, anxious mindset, you're going to get more of that back to you. And this is the basic premise of the book, that you can actually just change how you feel and it will change your life. So, for example, if you look at two people who are approaching someone in a certain situation, one person is joyful, positive, friendly, the other person is going to be more likely to be positive and friendly back. If you are anxious or not interested, you're going to see a similar thing when it comes back to you. This is really important. When you feel stressful, when you feel anxious about things, you're also likely to see more of it, or you're also likely to experience more of that in your life. So it's really important to be fearless and remove these negative emotions and thoughts and replace it with these positive emotions and thoughts, such as excitement, gratitude, and joy. So he also introduces a few different concepts. One of them is that your genes can actually change according to your behavior. So for example, if you're more positive, if you do more exercise, for example, your genes are going to change and become different. There are some aspects of genes that turn on and off. So you can actually just consciously change who you are. And at the same time, if you keep experiencing a certain emotion or a certain thing, your brain actually rewires according to that. And your brain has all these different connections. And so if you're repeatedly feeling a certain way, you're more likely to continue feeling a certain way like that. And so it's really, really powerful. At the same time, when you are feeling anxious about things in the world and around you, if you have this anxiety or stress, you are more likely to create more stress in your life. So for example, if you are anxious and then some opportunity approaches you, you may be more likely to look at the negative aspects of that opportunity and less likely to take it. So how do you rewrite and change how you think? So he looks at a few examples. One of them is just changing your focus. One of them is you need to become aware of your thoughts and your feelings. And you can do that by meditation. So you can basically rise above it and just see it for what it is, which is separate from yourself. And when you do that, you can then change it by focusing on different things, just like consciously focusing your attention not on it and on different things. You can also just rewrite your script and you can become more aware of it, so that when that happens, you can just try and rewrite it and try and change it. And one of the ways he talks about how you can rewrite it is by rehearsing it in your mind, rehearsing these situations, and then thinking how you want to react in those situations. Like, what is the script that's going to replace it? So if you feel fearful in certain situations, like, I don't know where you'd be fearful, but if you're fearful of heights, for example, then you will just imagine yourself being excited about seeing the view and not letting this come into your mindset and just trying to overcome it. And that's one example, but just rehearsing these kind of experiences and then replacing it with what you want it to have. One really interesting thing that he shared is about how you can change these negative emotions. And so I'll give you an example of anxiety, which is, so many people know that like love and hate, they can be similar emotions. Like it's easy to switch, even though they're opposites in some way, but they're actually very similar. They may actually not be opposite, because indifference is the opposite of love, for example. So when you're looking at anxiety is a negative anticipation of the future, like thinking it's going to turn out badly and worrying about that. But the opposite of that is not to think that the future is going to turn out positively. It's like, which would be excitement. The opposite with that would be being grateful that the past has turned out well. And so one easy way to stop thinking in the future about anxiety is to instead switch your focus on something that you're grateful for in the past. And it just completely rewires how you're thinking and completely change how you're thinking. And then from that, you can then use that into joy, move it into joy, and move it into excitement about the future. So this is a really powerful way of thinking. One of the other things that he talks about is how do you overcome the environment that you're in? Because often the the environment affects how we feel, and we then feel in a certain way. Like if you live in a certain house, you have the same routines, you're going to go through the same script every day. If you want to do something different, you have to change the script. And the way to do that is you need to transcend or change something that is happening every day, which could be like, say, rewriting the script of something that's happening every day. But one of the things is that it can feel very uncomfortable to change the script, something that you're used to. And so you can see this with some people who, for example, lottery winners, it's common for them to lose their money after some time because they're not comfortable with it. And they're more comfortable with the feeling of being how they were before. And this kind of feels like an uncomfortable life. It's the same with changing our environment. Many of us are actually just really comfortable in this environment and we don't really want to change. And so in order to change who we are, we have to feel this discomfort and being uncomfortable. And the other way that you can change how you feel is to change your environment. And this can also change how you feel. So you can just move somewhere else or go on a trip, and you will experience a new environment which will change how you feel, which can be a catalyst for changing your life. He also talks about how to solve problems. And you can basically solve problems not in the same way that if you are kind of fearful of the problem or you're thinking about the problem too much, it might create more problems because you are kind of thinking and feeling the problem too much. Instead, you need to rise above the problem and thinking of the solution of what you want it to become and how you want it to create. You can imagine it resolved and imagine it resolved in a simple way. And in that way that you can resolve the problem. So you can actually make the problem so it's not actually that big of a problem. You can easily solve it. You can rise above it. And this is a really interesting way that he talks about how to solve problems. So this is some of the things that I learned from Joe Dispenza. Some of it sounds like things that I've also read elsewhere, but he puts it in a very interesting way that highlights like a different way that I've ever experienced elsewhere, and it's very powerful. I really recommend reading this book. Also check out Joe Dispenza and his YouTube channel, and you can also check out my blog and subscribe to my channel here. I'm going to be sharing more things that I'm learning, and if you have any comments, let me know in the description. Thanks, guys.